Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be what to do when your girlfriend is depressed, she's negative, she's got self-loathing comments that she's always saying, and it's hard. I mean, I could speak from experience because this was something that my mother suffered from, and also my father's former fiance. She was a manic depressive, and so I'm very familiar with people who are in that, and the fact that medication doesn't really help them other than kind of making them feel like a zombie. And as a matter of fact, there was a study that came out, I think it was last year, it was all over the media, and what they discovered was all these different antidepressants, which they're still selling to everybody in advertising and how it's going to help you. But what the studies have discovered, that these antidepressants basically have no better effect on people than a placebo. That's something to think about, but yet these pharmaceutical companies are still spending millions and millions of dollars to advertise these things, even though the studies basically say they don't do jack shit. Something to think about. So I've got a quick email here from a viewer, and he says, "Hi Coach Corey, my girlfriend is showing signs of depression. Since I've struggled with depression myself, I recognize the signs: constant negativity, self-loathing, and refusal for help. I know it has to do with the slump she's in. She's stuck with weird work hours, our conflicting schedules, and it's causing us to spend less time together, etc. And based on listening to her talk, I want to help her, but because she refuses help, something I know all too well, this makes it hard. How should I go about handling this?" Well, I think going to counseling or getting her to talk to a counselor just so she can talk about her problems, because I think that can be very helpful. But it's hard because I know my own mother, she refused to admit that she had a problem, and she was a psychotic schizophrenic. And the difference between people who are depressed versus people who suffer from schizophrenia is the depressed people usually will take their medication, but people that are schizophrenics, they think there's nothing wrong with them, that there's something wrong with everybody else in the world. And my mother, the stuff that she was on, I mean, she literally would see things that weren't there. I mean, it was just totally wacky to be around her when she wasn't taking her medications. And I know it was a constant battle where, I mean, she'd take the medication and my dad would stand there and make sure she'd swallow it, and then she would just put it under her tongue and then spit it out when he walked away. And when she would stop taking her medication, because she was always trying to get herself off of it, I mean, usually about a month or so later, I mean, she'd just get all whacked out again, and he'd have to have her committed. And it was just not a pleasant process to see a family member go through. But obviously, having had family members that have suffered from these things, I mean, the best thing that you can do is get them to go see a counselor and to talk to somebody and to open up about it, because you got to express these things. Because as human beings, we're all taught that we just stuff this stuff down, pop a pill or whatever, drink excessively, eat excessively, exercise excessively, watch TV, always just make yourself busy so you don't deal with the things that don't feel good in your life. And when I as a life coach, because I have a lot of clients that are under care by counselors or psychologists, and a lot of them tell them to go out and hire a life coach, because part of the reason why your girlfriend is feeling so bad is maybe her job sucks. I mean, obviously she's not liking the hours that she's working. And all human beings, we've got to have something emotionally compelling that we're working for or that we're striving for. And so if she's into a rut in her life, maybe a career change is in order, or maybe changing her job is something that would definitely help her out. I mean, especially if she doesn't like where she's working. Because years ago when I used to work for other people, when it got to the point where I felt like my career had kind of hit the brick wall, or that I just no longer had the same internal enthusiasm that I once had for that particular job that I was working in, instead of staying there, which is like what most people do, they just stay there and they ignore those feelings because they like the job security or they like the paycheck, but they hate the job. I mean, think about it. Where we work, we're going to spend more time at work than we are going to be at anything else. And so if you're working at a job that totally sucks and you totally hate it, I mean, you think about it, you work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, whatever it happens to be in your career, and you come home at night after working at a job that you just absolutely hate, and you got to force yourself to get out of bed in the morning and go work at. It's very hard to be happy about life when you spend so much of your life doing something that you hate. And so I would seriously sit down and talk to your girlfriend about this and say, well, if you could do anything and money was no object, what would you do? Obviously all of us have to do something with our lives, because you can't sit at home and be a fucking couch potato all the time and watch TV and just watch life pass you by. We all want to feel that what we're doing for a living contributes to society or to other people in some meaningful way. And so ask her, what would you do? I mean, what if you lost your job and you basically had $10 million in the bank and you didn't have to work, but you could work doing something that you really loved? What would you do? And it's the type of thing that would give you goosebumps, the type of thing that it would bring tears to your eyes if you could one day be doing it and impacting people's lives in a meaningful way, whether it's cleaning houses for a living or inventing some great product that changes the lives of millions of people, or being a teacher, or being a doctor, or a firefighter, or going in the military, whatever it happens to be. All human beings, we've got to feel that our gifts and our talents and our skills mean something, that they contribute to society in some kind of meaningful way. And so by helping her come up with something that's emotionally compelling to her, maybe it's changing a job or a career, or maybe going back to school and working at something that makes her feel fulfilled, so when she wakes up in the morning, she jumps up out of bed and is excited to go to the office, is excited to go work and do something. Then when she comes home, she's going to be talking about all the great things that she did at work that day. And when you go out on your dates, she'll be excited about all the things because she'll feel like her contribution means something. And at the end of the day, you can't necessarily immediately change your life circumstances, but you can always change what they mean to you. And maybe she has to go back to school and go to school part-time for a couple of years until she gets a particular degree or whatever to where she can do what she wants to do. But at least that way, she'll be on a path. She'll be moving towards it. She'll have something that she's working for, a goal that she's working for. That's what a lot of the psychologists and counselors that send clients to me, that's what I help the clients with, is help them come up with a emotionally compelling vision for their life. Help them figure out what's most important to them, what kind of goals and dreams they really want, and give them a set of tools to help them achieve those goals. And that's what I do. And so that's what I would suggest that you do with your girl, is to help her come up with something that's emotionally compelling that she can work towards and strive towards. And I would encourage her to get a counselor and go sit down and talk about her problems and open up about these things, because when you talk about things, you express what you're feeling, and by talking about it and feeling those emotions, that's how you feel it, and you work through it. You got to feel it to heal it, as they say. Like one of my friends who's a doctor, he always tells all of his patients in his practice, he says, you got to feel it to heal it. And it's so true. I mean, you look at how children express emotions, or they express upset or anger. They express it, they feel it in that moment, and then they move on. And 5 minutes later, they're dancing around like it's no big deal. But we as adults, we get conditioned like, oh no, that's inappropriate. Only children should express their emotions. Only children should feel those negative, icky feelings. When you're an adult, you change your state and you ignore those things and you don't feel those things. And what happens is, when you don't express an emotion because you've been taught or conditioned to think it's not good, or it's a bad emotion, what happens is that emotion gets stored as muscle tension in your nervous system, and it completely fucks up your nervous system, because over time what it does is it causes subluxations in the spine, which are basically where the muscles in the spine twist and contort and basically pinch the nerves, and so you literally your brain loses its ability over time to talk and to regulate body blood flow and oxygen flow and circulation to different parts of the body, which can cause later in life tremendous health problems. Something to think about. So if you appreciate the value of the information in my videos, you can show your appreciation by going to my website, and down at the bottom of your screen there will be a toolbar. There will be a PayPal donate button, and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. And I will talk to you soon.